Hi everybody, this is Bogus Reviews, and today I'm going to be doing a review on the brand new Neca, The Nightmare Before Christmas Jack Skellington figure. So before we take a look at Jack, let's take a look at the accessories that he comes with. So first up, Jack comes with this stand with adjustable cradle, and he does benefit from using this. He's such a tall and lanky figure with really tiny feet that it makes him very hard to stand. But with this cradle and the peg holes there that are pegged into his feet, it helps to stabilize him very well. And you can put the cradle on either of these 3 points in the base, and you actually get a plug for one of the holes. So you can put this cradle into any of these holes here. Up next, he comes with this pumpkin, and this is sculpted and painted very, very well. This looks very awesome. It's got some nice paint variation to it, has some nice black paint inside the carved details there. Jack can actually hold that on his fingers like the packaging shows. I think that's very awesome that he can actually hold that. And since the pumpkin has a peg hole, you can actually swap that onto his head, and that looks very awesome. So that is it for all of his accessories. I do think that he should have came with Zero. That would have been a very awesome accessory to come with. But yeah, he didn't come with him. I'm wondering if maybe Sally might, because Zero is an essential accessory for Jack. So yeah, hopefully we get him at some point in the future. So now let's go ahead and take a look at Jack's head sculpt. So taking a look at Jack's head sculpt, Neca did a phenomenal job at painting and sculpting this. That looks amazing. This whole figure looks like it stepped straight out of the film. It just looks incredibly accurate. If you look, his teeth are painted very nicely in there, and he also actually has some gray paint inside his mouth. It's a darker shade, and it's kind of hard to tell, but yeah, he actually does have some paint inside his mouth there and on the teeth. That head sculpt looks very, very nice. I think the thing there by his neck is supposed to be a bat bow tie. I believe that's what that is, and that looks very nice. Jack's real fabric pinstripe suit is tailored very nicely on the figure. It's a little bit bulkier than it should be, but that's just so the joints move around and this doesn't get caught in the joints. It looks very nice. Neca did a very awesome job at tailoring this. And it also hides the joints very well. It's a little bit longer too, because it hides these joints right here. And I'm really surprised by this. These are really different type of joints. I don't think I've seen any figure that uses these kind of joints. And the way the fabric drapes over them, it hides that articulation very nicely. These kind of joints are what all of the articulation is. There's one here for the torso, the hips, the knees, everything. That's what all of these joints are. And it works very well. With him being such a thin and tall figure, I was really worried as to how the joints would be. But Neca did a really good job on these joints. They feel surprisingly sturdy. They don't feel like they're going to break or anything. They give some really nice articulation and don't feel like they're going to break, so that is a big plus. His hands are painted very nicely. You get some nice black paint in there between the bones on his fingers, looking really good. And then down here you have his very, very tiny feet. As I said, it's very hard to get him to stand without using the stand because of how tiny his feet are. Between the tiny body and then his head kind of makes him topple over. So it is difficult to get him to stand without that. It's probably not impossible, but it's definitely tricky to do. So now let's go ahead and go over his articulation. He has a ball-jointed head that can look up all the way. Can look down very slightly. He can move his head side to side. He has shoulders that can move all the way out. He has single jointed elbows that can just about bend in all the way. He has wrists that can spin around all the way and move up and down. Depending on how you want to articulate this, you'll want to move the opening around like this. If you want his hand out like that, then the opening should be facing this direction. As I said, these joints are pretty brilliant. He can crunch forward just about all the way. He can move side to side. He has hips that can only move out that far. You don't want to split the seam here, so I don't want to test that articulation too much. He can kick forward all the way. He can kick up way above his head. He can kick back very, very far. He has a swivel at the thigh, single jointed knee, and this is the only point of articulation where it's a little tough, is right here in the knee. You can hear that kind of noise it makes. It doesn't do that on this side. Well, it does it just a little bit, but it's not as noticeable as on this side. but it can bend in that far. And he has ankles that can move up all the way, spin all the way around, and just like with the wrists there, you just move it in whatever direction you want. Like if you want to move the ankles down, then you move the opening to the back there, and you can move them all the way down. So overall, I would highly recommend picking this up because Neca did a phenomenal job on this. It looks like it stepped straight out of the film. It looks incredible, and the articulation really surprised me. Because he's such a thin character, I figured he would be brittle, but he isn't. He is a very nicely articulated figure. So yeah, Neca just did an awesome job on this all around. The only real complaint that I have with this figure is that he didn't come with the Zero, but he might actually be coming with Sally. That might be the figure they're waiting to include that with. But other than that, Neca did an amazing job on this, and I'd highly recommend picking this up. So that's my review. If you like this review, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.